recently I went through and I went and deployed Fastly's WAF application, and this is probably my only, correlation, right? That I can describe what you were talking about. I went through and I deployed it. It's a WAF, right? I assume this thing is going to take me 6 months to deploy, right? Because WAFs are innately, very difficult, or historically very difficult to deploy. They're so
Or
difficult to
FC
deploy.
sandbox.
Yeah, they're so difficult to deploy that companies will literally buy those applications, or those servers from Imperva or whatever, WAF vendor you will, right? And they'll just sit there. They won't even do anything. They'll sit in passive mode for forever, and they're not configured or anything like that, right? So I go and I deploy this Fastly WAF, and it's direct into the code, into the application. You can deploy it basically anywhere. It'll do a full WAF protection, and you can deploy it anywhere. It's right into the code. And I deployed it, 15 seconds, 30 seconds. And my first question was, well, what do I do next? Right? Well, where do I go from here?
Yeah.
Their response was, it's already deployed. Just let it go. Let it do its thing. Go do something else. And I bring this up because it's kind of the evolution of where we're moving as a security industry overall, right? We're going from this, outside, this server, this firewall, this whatever it might be, this I guess it would be like high code or high demand solution, to something that's like, no, you just put these 3 lines of code into your code there, into your application, and it does everything else. Like, you don't have to worry about it, you don't have to touch it. That's the sort of direction that we're going. And I mean, it was very difficult for me to wrap my head around it. Like, I did not trust it, but it was so light and so easy to deploy that I forgot that it was even there. That's how it was. And do you see that that's where everything is going now? Because it kind of has to some extent, right? Because the cloud is so expansive. It is so insanely aggressive with how vast it can be in seconds, right? That the only way that you can really stay on top of your security posture is if something is embedded with the application, that you can just, with the click of a button, say, this has to be embedded into every Lambda in AWS, right?
Yeah.
Every Lambda includes these 3 lines of code, right? And
And,
those 3 lines authenticate you to a solution, and the solution does all the work.
and you're going straight to the point. Like, it takes to be embedded into the solutions. That's one thing, because you have to understand it's not only that it's easier and you make sure that it's everywhere, but also that if it's embedded into the solution itself, it will be able to know what that application is supposed to do. What's the normal behavior? What's the abnormal behavior? When you were talking again about server-side security, about the cloud. We do exactly the same, but on the client side. Sometimes we have been branded as the firewall for the client side, or the WAF for the client side, or the RASP for the client side. Those industry has too many acronyms, but it's exactly that point that I was trying to push. And thank you for connecting you to the server, because everyone understands it much better. We have this massive customer base, or client base. We have these massive servers and massive infrastructures, and it's not one size fits all, in a sense that if we are just on the layers, we are continuing to build like the layers on top. It's like I'm building additional walls. But the problem is that the walls themselves don't know what's happening inside. What are they supposed to protect? They are just like dumb walls. They sit there. And that's not the security that we want. We want walls that, we don't even want walls. We want agents that are there, that are able to understand what is this business, what is the database it is supposed to have here, what is supposed to go out. That kind of questions. He's talking the business language of that company. And we need to make sure that all of the security products that we as an industry push out, they talk the business language. Or else we will continue to lose power, as we have seen. We have seen the cycles of security was not a topic, security budgets went sky high and were unlimited, and now security budgets are going down. They're going down because the security teams kept saying, "Oh, you cannot do that. You cannot do that. You have to move slower. You cannot." That's not an option today. The option today is I am the security team. I am working with the development team. I am working with the guys that make sure that the solutions get delivered, and I'm helping them build better, not perfect, better solutions. That's also the importance of setting the expectations to the right level. We are always going to have security problems if that company is alive, if that company is selling, if that company is engaging with customers. It's just a question of how well you're able to stop that problem, how well are you able to react to that problem, how fast, and how you can contain it. If you have a security, for example, going to the PCI. PCI is as you know, and I've seen you mention PCI, so you know that it's a security standard for accepting credit cards. And we are very much focused on that topic, like avoiding credit cards being stolen from websites. It's totally different when a company says someone stole 100 credit cards from me, or they stole 500 million credit cards from me. It's a totally different problem. And that's what security is, yeah, we stopped it at 100 credit cards. We were a success because we stopped that problem at 100, which is valid at maybe 20K, 30K, 50K, whatever problem for our company, and say this problem could have gone to 500 million if I wasn't here. And kudos for the development team and for this team and for that business unit for being smart enough to include this, and that in that process. This is how I feel that we need to fix this marriage that is not, it's kind of dysfunctional. Like security is not part of the development. Yes, it's really part of the development.
Yeah, you bring up a lot of different facets, right? There, and I think one of the key things, when I am working with developers or really anyone, right, to make the environment as a whole more secure, right? And in security, how do we judge that, right? We judge it based on a rule set score and what is included in that rule set, and if we're compliant with it and whatnot, right? That's probably like the best way that we have to judge it right now. And when we make a lot of progress, when these teams are, really getting it done and knocking it out of the park, we're meeting our benchmark requirements and everything else like that, I always lead and finish with good job, and I make it a mission in that call to not even bring up questions about stuff that they didn't get done, stuff that they didn't do or whatever it might be, because the target was hit technically, right? We hit our goal of hitting this percentage or whatever it might be. They did a lot of work. They need to know it's appreciated. It's those soft skills, right? Because now it'll keep them coming back for more. It'll keep them, coming at this problem with, well, I know it's appreciated. I know the work that I'm doing is heavily appreciated by the team. They used to cause me a whole lot of issues and heartache, and so I'll keep doing it, right? I'll keep on working